Oh, there must be a problem. Oh, here it came back on. Holy mackerel, guys. I'm terribly sorry. I thought it was on record, and it wasn't. I just gave you 10 minutes of really good stuff. Well, I guess I'm supposed to not talk about that today. See, that's how the universe is. I could say, oh, Christ, I just gave you some really good stuff and it's lost. Or understand that that's the way the universe says, you guys aren't ready yet. So don't go there. You can't believe how much stuff you're not ready for yet. You have to be prepared to become one with it all. Because you'll lose the veil of protection that you believe you have. You know, all your beliefs are channeled to protect you, to make you safe. It doesn't mean that they're effective in doing that. I mean, some could argue, you know, if you're in an affluent area, let's say, and you're Catholic, and you got to believe that all those prayers are doing good because your community is so safe you can't believe it. But if you're a Catholic in some South American countries, which is not at all unusual, man, you're dodging bullets, and we talked about that. No quality of life at all. So it has nothing to do with your prayers, has nothing to do with your faith, it only has to do with you. And, you know, I know this is going to be disruptive, but you're worthy of it. You deserve me. That's why I'm here. You didn't deserve me, I wouldn't be here. Guys like me are never here unless the system around them deserves them. And because the system around me is this magnificent technological era that we live in, I can talk to all you guys while I'm driving my car to play cribbage. I'm going to share this with you. Cribbage is the single best two-person card game in the world. And guys will argue that back and forth, but I'm telling you, it's so simple you can teach it to a child. An adult can learn it in an hour with enough skill to continue to play, and you can play for decades and still be learning. You know, I've been playing. I'm a good player. About a year and a little bit ago, I had an epiphany while I was playing. I kind of pushed myself back a little bit from the table, and I solidified, which means I became a cribbage player. Before, I was an old guy who played cribbage. But now, at least one of my partitions is a cribbage player, and this guy is really good. I'm having fun with him. And that's what you're supposed to do, right? That epiphany came after over 50 years of playing this game. My wife and I play 3 games a night, almost every night. In cribbage, we belong to a grassroots club, which is a club that are in lots of cities around the country, where people come and play cribbage, a 9-game tourney against 9 players if you've got enough to accomplish that. And 15 minutes a game, so you're out of there in under 3 hours. It's the perfect game. It challenges you, it aggravates you. I mean, you'll have the game won. It's absolutely impossible not to win. And all of a sudden, this guy will come up with 78 points in 3 hands and skunk you. I mean, you were going to skunk him, and boom, he blows you away. And that used to be, you know, we have the American Cribbage Congress. There were a lot of angry guys. Always been a lot of angry guys, and some of them played cards. And some played cribbage. God, I mean, they'd lose, and they would go nuts, rip doors off toilets and stuff like that. So the Congress, the American Cribbage Congress, I think it's acc.com or acc.org. Do yourself a favor. Look that stuff up and learn that game. Play it with your friends. Teach it to your kids. You wouldn't believe, Mike, I got my 2 grandsons, they're killer cribbage players. Because I taught them when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever the age was. When they were interested, don't force it on them. Let them show them the fun you're having. So fun, what do we do for fun? How do you create fun in your life when it's the same old stuff that you had yesterday? So the first thing I want to try and teach you how to do is to see auras. Because they'll help you get a better picture of the people around you and what they actually are. And old BHAGWAN is saying that there are already souls that in another journey became enlightened. And I'm saying to you, I have been around always. not in and out. I jump out of one body into another one. My soul is constantly on the go. As a result, I've touched all of you. What good would I be if I couldn't say that? Yeah, that's what Jesus said, Krishna, Buddha, all the guys said, I'm the one. I know that's crazy. Old guy driving a car going to play cribbage. But the important thing is you're ready for something like me. Someone to challenge who you are, to make you realize that. No, not my job to make you realize. Realization comes from you, comes from within. My job, hopefully, is to provide enough stimuli that would cause you to pique your interest enough to go look somewhere you haven't looked before. And I don't care where that is. Once you start it, it's infectious. You all of a sudden realize, holy Christ. I mean, some of you guys think you're really, really bright, educated, and you know a lot of stuff. But from the big picture of things, you're just stupid as shit. You have such opinions of what is that there's no room for anything to get in. Some of you are so narrow-minded, man, it's unbelievable. And you stay in your closed communities, it works fine. I'm not saying you got to change. You don't have to do anything. I'm just saying, even you guys have got this created security around everybody believing the same shit, and that's not picking any of you specifically. It's all the same stuff. All the same stuff. I want you to start looking around and accepting the fact that you're beyond all of that stuff. And that if you allow it, God will come in. And you'll see it everywhere. That's why I want you to look at auras. In all the pictures of cultures that accept the existence of saints, they're always portrayed with a halo around them. You don't see any pictures of Jesus or Krishna or Buddha or Nanak, for that matter, without those halos. The notion of a master is that his or her halo is so intense that even if you don't believe in that shit, remember we talked about beliefs, you'll still see it because it's a real thing. Everybody has one. It's also manipulable. In other words, if you recognize that it's there, you can watch that man or woman respond to the things that you're saying and doing. And if you're good, you can watch their halo grow or shrink based on what you're saying, which allows you to fine-tune the path to their inner consciousness. And once you get there, they'll understand who you are. Oh, Christ, thank you for coming, but I didn't think you guys were going to make it here. I'm 76 years old, and I don't know what's going on. And you wouldn't believe how many of you old guys are that way. I had a conversation with a really aggressive, bright, 51-year-old man, maybe a year ago. And we got pretty intense. He threw a lot of stuff at me, and man, boom, I came right back at him. And when we were done, he said to me, he said, I've met a lot of old guys, and I've talked to a lot of old guys. He says, but I honestly believe that you're the only one that I've talked to that had any idea what the fuck was going on in the world. On a spiritual level, everybody knows that shit, that they're killing each other and all the rest of this. So, auras, how do you see them? The best way to do this is to have the person that you're looking at in front of a flat wall. And by flat, I mean single color. Beiges and creams are really good, but it could be black works, purple, because the more accepting you are, which makes you more understanding, of course, the more accepting you are, the more this stuff will become clear to you. If you look right at them, you're not going to see it, because you're trying to make something happen. So what you want to do is look at the room that they're in and place them in that room in a physically proportional state. In other words, see the room instead of in 3D. Instead of mostly we perceive it as a flat thing, even though it's 3D. Most of you have real poor depth perception, so that some people can they can distinguish an inch a mile away, but most folks don't have that going on. To the best of your ability, see that man or woman or child or dog with the wall behind them. But look at the wall. And if you're lucky, you'll notice a little glow. around their head. Among people who are skilled, they can actually expand their aura. This is what teachers do. All teachers. They expand their aura until it reaches out and touches the aura of the people that they are addressing. It's really beautiful to watch auras join. So, even though you don't know anything about that and you don't believe in any of that stuff, let's take the Christians. Christians are going crazy with rallies, happiness rallies. A lot of singing. I don't know about too much about dancing, because good dancing is pretty expressive sexually, and everybody's worried about that serious sexual expression. But you understand this notion, and everybody will tell you, oh my God, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing. I can't believe how wonderful I felt when I was there. And that's because of proximity, the aura that everybody gives off when you put it into a close space and you sing the same song with enthusiasm. It has no choice but to join. So for a little moment, you get the wonder of oneness. If you play in a band, you're a cheerleader that does exotic routines. You know, you guys are the champions of the world. You know that there's a point when that unit becomes one thing. And that's the state we're looking for. When you realize that there's no difference between you, I'm come driving on the road, yellow sign, pipe sticking up with some kind of, it's actually a cross where someone died. You see that here in the United States. I don't know about other places. I would think so. A lot of people die here in car accidents, and their loved ones put these memorials to them at the point and place where they died. I find it personally touching. I think it's nice that someone remembered and was willing to go through that much to make it right. Put dancing in your life. That doesn't mean you got to go dancing. Dance around. Do a little tiptoe to the tulips in your living room as you're on your way to the bathroom. Because it'll make you smile. You'll say, oh God, I'm getting to be so silly in my old age. I say that all the time, by the way. And this is the notion, everybody's heard this idea that your return to your childhood is if you live long enough to achieve that state. And it fell over and I got it propped up in this car. It's my wife's car. I blew my cooling system. I'm just getting ready to leave and I realized it's leaking all over. If you're fortunate, as you age, because all the garbage is going to be worked out in your life. You know, you'll have figured it out to the best of your ability. And you'll be at peace with yourself and at peace with the system, assuming it's going good for you. At that point, your children, remember I told you about partition? All those little kids that you had are still down there. Some of you have real anxiety issues and anger issues, and they're tied to those little kids. To make that well, what you're going to have to do is go down there and heal those little guys. And I'm going to show you how to do that. It's called rebirthing. Where you actually allow your consciousness to go down, find one of your wounded parts, and go back to where the wound occurred. It's really vivid stuff. Powerful, powerful stuff. I mean, I think I told you about the time I was sexually attacked. I forgave that guy in a rebirthing experience, and whatever baggage was left from that experience was gone. Only the lessons. Always it's the lessons. For you women who've been violated, God, I'm so sorry that had to help you. But if you can go past it to the point to where you say, you know, I still love the world even if that guy was an asshole, or that woman sometimes, you know. So this is going to run out. I'm not sure this was the direction I wanted it to go, but I think that I'm pleased with the way it flowed. I'm just here to give you ideas. And what you'll find is as you allow those ideas to seep into your consciousness, they'll start to make a whole lot of sense. And something I told you 2 weeks ago will come back and say, oh, you know, those things tie together. I bounce all over the place. It's not purposeless. I think I got time for it. Great friend of mine, Carl Fox, is an educator and mystical guy in Canada. Came was staying with me one night, and he always throws tough questions at me. And he threw a question at me, and it took an hour and a half for me to answer the question. And then he yelled at me. He said, you call yourself a teacher? No teacher does it. You got to wait till it comes along, you know, so they learn piece at a time. And I said, yeah, it's when you talk to the mind, Carl. I talk to the soul. I'm talking to your soul. It's time for us to get our shit together. Let's save the world. I love you. I got in, I think, 14, just crossed 15 seconds. I love you guys.